On behalf of Conservation International, the Ocean Health Index program, and myself, I'd like to thank you all for your invitation to this very important workshop. As you all know, the oceans are very important to our well-being, and yet they are at peril. So we are committed to continue working with you to support your ongoing efforts to manage the oceans and coasts in a sustainable way. The Ocean Health Index has been a program, an international program. We're currently working with over 30 countries around the world, and through this work right now, the British Virgin Islands is becoming a leader amongst the Caribbean island countries. So we encourage you to keep working on this important task, and we are looking forward to continue working with you over the coming days, weeks, and years to support your ongoing efforts. Looking forward to working with you over the coming days. Thank you very much.
Remarks by Dr. Asher Singh, who heads the Ocean Governance Unit at the OECS Commission.
Thank you very much, Chair. Honorable Minister, Dr. Pickering, Mrs. Smith, colleagues, members of the various units that work in the oceans, and also the media. I bring you warm greetings from the Director General of the OECS, Dr. Jules, and it's my pleasure to be here this morning and also to be engaged with you for the next day and a half. That is, I leave on Tuesday. Oceans is not one of the areas that we pay a lot of emphasis on. It continues to be an area that we have a large real estate. And if we look here in the BVI, we have as much as 1,000 times more marine space than land. But yet, our efforts in the Caribbean continue to be one of not giving that area its due regard. However, we are moving. And in the OECS, we are taking steps. Steps in the form of the Eastern Caribbean Regional Ocean Policy that was approved by the heads of government in 2013. In that policy, there are a number of priority areas, of which one of them is how do we protect the marine environment. And one way of protecting the marine environment is that we must know what is happening in that space. The Ocean Health Index offers us that opportunity. It offers us an opportunity to look at what we have in the marine space and to guide us. In August of last year, I met Eric Pacheco, and he made a similar presentation that his counterpart made to the Honorable Minister in Colombia. And I was enthralled by this assessment as well. And I started to engage him in October of last year. How do we do this for the OECS countries? And I'm very pleased to be here today because we look now to the BVI to be the leader in the OECS and how do we promote the Ocean Health Index. And I look forward that perhaps that we can learn from the lessons, we can understand what are the data needs and what are the needs that we may need to undertake to do this for the OECS. As you would know, in my position as head of the ocean governance at the OECS, I speak for all our member states, and we want to ensure that whatever happens, it happens in that regional space, because the potential to harness those resources are abound. And I think now more than ever, we need to really look toward the oceans. Not only here in the OECS, but across the world. We just had concluded the meeting in Samoa for small island states, and again, the ocean is one of the priority areas for small island states. No countries in the world, minus the small island states, can lay claim to the fact that we have more marine space than land. So ladies and gentlemen, it is very important that we start looking how do we harness collectively and efficiently those resources. And I trust that this is one of the areas that we can also find some common ways of how we can upscale this at the regional level. This does not take away anything from the efforts of the BVI, and I truly applaud the effort by the BVI, and I certainly look forward to working with Mrs. Smith and also with the minister and everyone in how do we move this forward. I also want to make a point here, a note here, seeing that we have the Honorable Minister sitting with us, that part of the Eastern Caribbean Regional Ocean Policy is how do we make that, mainstream that into the national arena. And one of our approaches is for us to develop a national ocean policy. The national ocean policy that can support the efforts of the regional ocean policy, but also provide that framework of how do we govern the oceans at a national level. And Honorable Minister, I would really ask that perhaps that this is also be one of your consideration, that we look towards of developing a national ocean policy. In the OECS, we have 5 of our member states that are moving towards developing national ocean policy. Once we're able to identify and develop these national ocean policy, it gives legitimacy to how do we move forward collectively as a community of nations and as an economic union. And on this note, I want to thank you very much, and I look forward to greater engagement. Thank you.
I will now call to the podium Deputy Premier and Minister for this subject.
Thank you. Thank you very much, P.S. Berkeley. I wish to recognize also Deputy Secretary Joseph Smith, Dr. Singh, Mr. Pachio, our visiting friends, and all the technical persons gathered here this morning from the various departments outlined by the PS. And I would also more especially wish to recognize the fishermen who have taken time out to be here with us this morning. You know that Jesus, in his Sermon on the Mount, said that for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Jesus' first mission when he started out his earthly ministry was also to call fishermen. Yeah, I missed that. Jesus' first mission, part of his mission, was that he called fishermen. And so it gives me great pleasure to welcome you today to the opening of this workshop that will serve as a platform for further actions to protect our oceans and sustainably use them. Our communities and culture has traditionally been closely linked to healthy oceans. They have for many decades served as a means of survival, sustenance, recreation, and repose, and inspiration to many Virgin Islanders. Our reliance on healthy oceans continues today as we, in part, derive our food through fishing. Moreover, we possess an economy which is in large part dependent on the presence of vibrant coastal and marine ecosystems. And whether we refer to our charter and cruise industries, commercial, recreational, or sports fishing, a common thread that is found amongst all is the great dependence on a clean and appealing environment. I know all of you have heard me say, and I will continue to say, there's absolutely no tourism without the environment. It is important to always ensure that we manage the environment in such a way that our rich biodiversity will continue to sustain our needs well into the future. You know, as I'm walking with my friends on Saturday night, and I pointed out to them that no matter how many people come to the BVI, no matter how many rich people build this or build that in the BVI, they can't take it up and go with it. No matter how many people come and visit, you can't take it up and carry it with you. The most you can do is enjoy it and leave it as it is. It belongs to us who have been given the opportunity and the privilege to call this place home. We live in one of the most beautiful places on earth, and we've been tremendously blessed. But if you treasure something, you're going to do your best to protect it. It's extremely important for us to appreciate it. Against this background, we must always strive to improve our stewardship and management of the environment so that we may bequeath our future generation, which means allow it to continue to thrive. Rest assured that the conservation and the sustainable use of our natural resources continue to be paramount in my mind. I want to tell you that my commitment to the environment of this country is more than skin deep. Whatever I have in me, I'm going to do my best to protect the environment, because there is no tourism and fishing industry without the presence of a healthy environment, one where we all increasingly take note of this importance to our economic, social, and spiritual well-being. We can literally eat our environment. We literally can breathe our environment, and we literally can live it, because it sustains every facet of our lives. We have convened this workshop to sensitize the public, the private and non-governmental sectors as to the use of the Ocean Health Index. And my peers and I had gone to Cartagena, Colombia, to attend an international meeting that was being attended by the President of Colombia and Prince Charles. And over breakfast we were meeting with your boss, I don't even remember his name, Dr. Sebastian. And we just got into discussing these various events, and I said to PS, this sounds like something that we need to get involved with, because the Ocean Health Index is an objective tool that is aimed to facilitate the evaluation of the wide range of benefits that a healthy ocean can provide to our country. In other words, at its core, it is used to assess how, for instance, countries are harvesting seafood sustainably. In the case of the Virgin Islands, we have worked with the fishermen to establish seasons when we may regulate the catch of commercially important species. These control measures ensure that we maintain viable populations of fish that will ensure our food for local consumption. The rational use of our fisheries resources will only enhance our food security while sustaining jobs and ensure continued thriving coastal economy around the relevant sectors. What this means is that if we measure through the use of the index the condition of the health of our marine ecosystems. Healthy marine ecosystems help the Virgin Islands to adapt to the impacts of climate change, while coastal habitats safeguard shores and help to absorb the carbon. And the expansion of the protected area network to designate our precious coastal and marine resources will build on government's commitment to enhance the tourism product. It will help to protect our iconic species and habitats and maintain the attraction of the Virgin Islands as a coastal destination of choice. Most of you are aware that we did a study 2 years ago to look at the economic value of the environment to the tourism product. A study that was done by the University of Amsterdam in relation with the Wolfs Foundation. And the study clearly shows of the value of our environment to the tourism product. But what it also showed more than anything else is that 90% of our visitors say that they come to the BVI because of the environment. 90% of the visitors said that the number one component of our environment are our beaches. And the majority of them said there'll be no reason to come back to the BVI if our environment was otherwise destroyed. And so this workshop will be followed by a consultative meeting with fishermen over the following 2 days. The outcomes of that dialogue will assist us in further defining the legislative framework that will advance fishing interests in the Virgin Islands. That's Dr. Asher. In large part, we already have an ocean governance policy because our Fisheries Act have encapsulated a number of the major issues that are important for sustainable fisheries in this country. And in terms of a formalized policy, we can get that done in a short order. That will just continue to show that when it comes to issues of the environment, the BVI will continue to be a leader. So we are going to be making some amendments to the Fisheries Act, which will be guided by the stated needs of the fishing community. And we welcome the feedback and the honest assessment of their needs and how government can assist in facilitating the attainment of their goals. It is important for us to thank the Conservation International and Mr. Pacheco. Please take back to your team, to your boss, especially our fond regards and our commitment to continue to do what we have to do to ensure that we protect our environment. We thank you for agreeing to introduce this very valuable tool for measuring and quantifying the manner in which the territory benefits from healthy and clean oceans. You know, we passed a piece of legislation in 2004 called the Statistics Act, and although not widely used, what it is intended to do is to help to present the policymakers, the decision makers of the day, with clear scientific information, data that you can help to make decisions and not just think things willy-nilly and think you're on the right track. And so, in the context, in the wider context of the well-being of the British Virgin Islands, the data that will eventually come out of quantifying the Ocean Health Index will put things in perspective for us to be able to make decisions, and also for it to be used for the next generation of leaders to understand what really needs to be done in order to protect, preserve, and present an environment for the next generation to make their livelihood sustainable. And so I'm really heartened to see the diverse range of partners within the marine, the fishing, conservation, and non-governmental and government sectors that are here gathered this morning. This can only facilitate dialogue, and the dialogue fostered through this workshop and the subsequent consultation with the fishermen this week will only strengthen our capacity to benefit from our oceans and ensure our long-term economic and environmental sustainable. The work that we've done thus far in putting our fishing industry in the focal point of the economic development of this country will continue. But what is important is that everything matters the way you do it, and so building one step at a time is extremely important. Nothing happens by chance. It happens from a commitment, and then it happens by taking practical and realistic steps to move forward. And I think we've done significant work to put our fishing industry on a firm footing. And as we build on the foundation that we have established, I think we're creating millionaires in the fishing industry in the not too distant future, because the resources are there. They belong to us. We have a 200-mile exclusive, I don't want to say it's not an economic zone, fishery zone that belongs to us. And I'm told that the resources are out there, the fish are out there. We just have to find a way to bring those fish in. And to use my friend, I saw him earlier, Kevin. Okay, I saw Kevin earlier. To use Kevin's words, we have to turn fish into concrete. In other words, teach our fishermen how to bring those fish in, to make the money from it, and then ultimately to build the future that they want for their families and for this country. And so I want to take this opportunity on behalf of the Ministry of Natural Resources and Labour, on behalf of the Premier and the government, to thank all of you for the work that you do in helping to protect and preserve our environment. It may not be the most romantic and fanciful of jobs. You know, I oftentimes look at the people working in the tourism sector and the hospitality sector, and it looks like they have all the glamour. but their work is useless without the work that you do, because the BVI's tourism product ultimately depends on the environment. I want to thank you all very much and to wish you success over the next day and a half. God bless you. God continue to bless these Virgin Islands.
All right, thank you very much, Deputy Premier. And most times, I guess, preaching to the choir here, but I'll say it anyway. In order to move some of these efforts along, you need commitment at the highest level. And based on everything that you've heard from the Deputy Premier just now and over the years, the commitment is there at the highest level to move these matters forward. All right, that brings us to the end of the opening ceremony. So I would like to thank all of you for being here. Thank the Deputy Premier again for taking the time to be here. Again, that shows the commitment. Deputy Secretary, thank you for pulling this together. Thank you to our experts, Mr. Pacheco and Dr. Singh, for taking the time to be here.